control's another one. There's the landlord inputs. There's the tenant inputs. This is again a case where we might think, well, in the short run, the landlord inputs are inelastically supplied. The apartment building's there, somebody we might as well live in it. But in the long run, okay, would be elastically supplied. You don't have to build or maintain apartments. And again, there's a whole range of things. Oh, I skipped that in my red-green picture. You look at there's a bar there for housing. There's an awful lot of green for housing. Most of where your rent check goes is not to pay for the construction and maintenance of that building. This goes toward a lot of other things, financial services particularly. Those could be cut out. Yeah.
So in the previous slide, when you showed the eggs, the red and the, so in order to think about when there is a price control, how much the red would reduce in comparison to green, you would use that the floor ceiling analysis that we did a few slides back. Is that, and so it would depend on the elasticities?
What's more like, what I've measured in this picture is what the consumer pays.
Right.
So the consumer's doing some stuff that's not in this picture. Are there some toys that you buy at the grocery store and the consumer assembles? I don't have that part. But I'm saying, given where we are in our economy, how much room is there to reduce the costs of the company? How much room is there to reduce RK and put it on the consumers? And
that RK,
this whole thing's kind of like RK over Y. Because it's just what the companies get. That's the data I have. You know, I have how much money is handed over to the landlord, how much money is handed over to the grocer. And then I'm asking a question, how much room does the grocer have to cut his expenses but still give you an egg? How much room does the landlord have to cut his expenses and still give you an apartment of a given square foot? And the green part is suggesting there's a lot. I mean, a lot of these things you could cut the price in half, which would be a rather extreme price control. You could cut the price in half and still the product would, in some narrow sense, would still be there.
is it, so the reason I asked this was because if there is a price control on eggs, I'm trying to understand how should I think through how much of the red part would shrink.
Let's say the red part doesn't shrink at all. This is just going to the chicken and the egg farmer. Okay, so there could be some room there. But all this stuff that gets added on after the farmer can be cut out. And in Cuba, I saw it is cut out. Not just Cuba. There are other countries that do that as well.
A decline in red, that basically would be like, I sell you just bad eggs.
Well, that's another thing. The eggs don't have to be. You go to a grocery store in the United States, although recently there aren't price controls, but maybe there's some perception that we want to have lower prices. So you'll get produce that's bad and you have to throw it away. Now, if there's unregulated prices and it's efficient for the consumer not have to do that sorting, then the grocer will do that sorting and charge you for it. I mean, you get charged for the broken eggs, whether you take them home or not. And the question is, should we bother having you take the broken eggs home, or should we throw them in the trash at the store? And there's flexibility on that. Waste is a decent part of the expense. Yeah.
These outcomes, they do sometimes arise in the private market, don't they? Because like when you're describing like the Quebec physician outcome, I was thinking that's a lot like what it's like to have cheap insurance. Or like, you know, there's good grocery stores and there's dollar stores.
Yeah.
Like,
now the insurance is regulated. And so if the government says you have to, insurance company, you have to provide doctor visits, say, okay, I'll give you a doctor visit. Not going to be the same as some other people's doctor visits, but there's a problem with central planning in general. I mean, the planner specifies something and there's a lot of flexibility around that. You know, the planner may say, I want you to make 80 tons of steel, but I'm not telling you what quality. It might be totally useless steel. Whereas in a market, you make 80 tons of useless steel and you deliver it to my factory, and I say, I'm not paying the bill. Take it back because this is junk steel. Whereas in these kind of involuntary relationships, you know, too bad.
There is also like, if you think about some types of subsidies in like Medicare Advantage, where usually like there's no competition in price. You see a lot of like kind of like the reverse of Cuba, where
Yes.
the plans will give you a lot of like fun and good stuff for the elderly, like I don't know, dental plan or hearing aid plan, because they
Yeah.
can charge lower. So
Yes. There's lots of research that can be done on this. It's very real. And it gets ignored because, like I said, nobody has any training on this. It's the Acemoglu picture I showed you doesn't bring up any of these issues. Yep, okay. So